Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Spanish Newscast. I'm Ginny Winchester, and this is Annabeth Acabane.
Tonight's news: the fall of the Aztec Empire.
The Aztecs were a group of people native to the place known as Mexico.
The Aztecs had their own beliefs. For example, they believed most people who weren't part of their state were bad, but they also believed that good citizens helped their neighbors. They believed that the state was more important than the individual. Every Aztec was willing to die for their people. Men were expected to fight for their state, and to symbolize this, the Aztecs would give a baby boy a bow and shield.
The Aztecs were polytheistic, meaning that they worshipped multiple gods. They thought their gods told them that if they conquered all the other civilizations in the world, that they could rule the universe. The Aztecs sacrificed people because they thought that the blood of people nourished the gods, and without these sacrifices, the gods would become sick and die.
And the Aztecs believed one of their gods was Tezcatlipoca, led them to their land. Now, the land was an awful place to live, but they never moved because they were supposedly led to that land. They respected the land, but they still changed it to fit their needs. Where the Aztecs lived had lots of mountains, and while these mountains helped against enemies, they also kept rain clouds away. In order to have clean drinking water, the Aztecs built aqueducts.
The Aztecs were ruled by an emperor. This emperor was chosen by a council of nobles instead of being born into royalty. They treated this emperor like a god despite him being human.
Speaking of the empire, the Aztecs had a system that determined the different privileges of people. The empire had his very own place at the very top, meaning only he had the most rights. Another word to describe this is a hierarchy. After the empire was a noble and priest, and then merchants, artisans, and soldiers. Below them were the farmers, fishers, and women. And finally, the slaves.
Now that we've covered the history of the Aztecs, we'll move on to their downfall after this break.
Ja cap a la dreta per Xavi, assistència de Xavi, més cap a la dreta per Messi, Messi, immens Messi, encara 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 Messi, gol, 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 gol,
And we're back, continuing our stories on the Aztecs.
Our story centers around a man named Hernan Cortés.
Cortés was living in Cuba after taking the land over.
He had grown curious about the Yucatan Peninsula, so he had the governor, Velázquez, to send out 2 expeditions to the land.
The reports that came back caused great excitement. A group of very strong and rich natives were living there.
Cortés got Velázquez to help finance an expedition, again, to take over the Yucatan Peninsula.
He soon went to find soldiers and loans for the ships. In a few months, he had gathered 11 ships, 508 fighting men, 100 sailors, 200 slaves, and 16 horses.
When Cortés was about to leave on this expedition, Velázquez tried to stop him. He was afraid Cortés would get all the fame and glory. Cortés, however, ignored this warning and left.
When Cortés arrived, he set up a town called the Rich Village of the True Cross and declared an independent government. He did this to break away from Velázquez's rule and was instead of a subject, a king of Spain's rule.
Cortés also sent one of his ships back with all the treasure he collected. He sunk the rest of the ships so that people loyal to Velázquez wouldn't be able to return to him.
When it came to fighting the Aztecs, we had a huge advantage. For example, an Aztec weapon called atala, or spear thrower, was easily overpowered by our Spanish crossbows.
The spear throwers helped Aztec warriors throw spears far, but the crossbows can launch an arrow with so much force that can penetrate the thickest armor.
Another weapon of ours that caught the Aztecs off guard were the muskets.
As we all know, the musket is a gun that is shot from our shoulders. The Aztecs have never seen muskets before, and when they first heard the noise that the muskets made, they thought it was thunder.
Our horses also overpowered the Aztecs. With their strength and agility, they were a huge advantage for us. The Aztecs who fought on feet could not compete to the men riding horses.
An epidemic of smallpox also broke out in the Aztec city. The epidemic killed off many Aztecs, leaving them weak and unable to resist assault.
And moving on to the march to the Aztec city, Tenochtitlan.
We have footage of these meetings, so while we talk, we will display this footage.
Our troops forced men in a group of natives called the Totonacs, which greeted us with kindness.
They invited troops to their city and complained about the Aztecs. Cortés agreed to give protection to the Totonacs in exchange for soldiers.
We then met a group called the Tlaxcalans. The Tlaxcalans first tried to fight us, but we held them off and offered peace. The natives agreed and added 1,000 soldiers to our army.
We then met the Cholulans, who were loyal allies of the Aztecs. We heard of a plot to attack us from an inside source, so we quickly conquered them.
When our Spanish troops arrived at the Tenochtitlan, we were invited to stay at the Emperor's Moctezuma's late father's house.
The Aztecs showed us the pride of the city, Tlatelolco, the market. We were so impressed by all the gold that they had, we decided it was time to attack.
We first put Moctezuma under house arrest while we took all the guard from the palaces and melted them down. We then forced Moctezuma a subject of Spanish rule.
News came of more Spanish troops that arrived at the coast sent by Velázquez to arrest Cortés.
Cortés left and Pedro de Valladolid became the one in charge. He let the Aztecs hold a festival but killed all of the dancers.
When Cortés returned, he found the place in an absolute uproar. He got Moctezuma to talk to his people, but it backfired and the Aztecs threw rocks at him. He later died, most likely due to the injuries.
The Aztecs attacked us and our allies, killing many. Unfortunately, we were forced to flee to Tenochtitlan. However, Cortés returned and fought back with a stronger force about 6 months later.
We cut off the aqueducts of the city, and with 25% of the population dying of smallpox, we defeated the Aztecs in about 80 days. Only 60,000 Aztecs survived in the city, which would lay in ruins around them.
The Aztec Empire ceased to exist, and in its place, Cortés built another Spanish colony.
This concludes our report.
We hope to see you again next week on The Spanish News.